your blood. I'm covered by your blood. Your precious blood. Your holy blood. Again, we are talking about a covenant relationship with the God of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, where the Lord decides all. From the Garden of Eden, from God created Adam and Eve, He established the way humans should live, what they can and cannot do. God decides all. And as He established this relationship between the patriarchs and Himself, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, so He is establishing the basis for this covenant relationship, the foundation, the requirement. God decides all. He is a Savior. He's a holy God that requires holiness. And He is the Lord who establishes rules, His regulations, according to His way. So we're looking at all three here. By His name, the call to be holy, and the call to live by His instructions. So by His name, His holiness, His commands. In a covenant relationship with the God of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, the Lord Himself decides all. And we can see here, should there be any confusion regarding what the biblical covenant relationship is all about, then we have to go back and look at the first true covenant relationship between God and a people, the Israelites. Here in Exodus chapter 19, God is speaking to the Israelites, and you can see all three elements or components to the covenant relationship, or these three essential elements or components that I mentioned earlier: the name of the Lord, the holiness of the Lord, and the commands or commandments of the Lord. The ones in covenant relationship with God are saved by the name of the Lord and receive the name of the Lord. They are saved by the name of the Lord and they bear the name of the Lord. They are called to be holy, and they are called to live by the commands of the Lord. Here in Exodus chapter 19, verse 3. Then Moses went up to God, and the Lord called to him from the mountain and said, "This is what you are to say to the descendants of Jacob, and what you are to tell the people of Israel. You yourselves have seen what I did to Egypt, and how I carried you on eagle's wings and brought you to myself." God telling them of His salvation. He saved them by His name. And now you being here to me right here fulfilled what I told Moses, that you will bring the people out to me at this mountain. And when Moses said to Pharaoh, let the people go so they can go out to worship the Lord on the mountain, and His special mountain, and the Mount of God. Verse 5. Now if you obey me fully and keep my covenant, then out of all nations you will be my treasured possession, although the whole earth is mine. Notice, obey me fully. You don't take some of the commandments, some of the instructions, and reject some. Obey me fully. Verse 6. You will be for me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. These are the words you are to speak to the Israelites. You will be for me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. You will be for me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. Again, you will be for me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. A holy nation, a kingdom of priests. God calling Israel to be his holy nation. God is calling Israel to obey his instruction, to obey the instructions of the Lord. The laws of the Lord is connected to the holiness of the nation. A nation of priests. So first, salvation. He saved them out of Egypt. Now he's calling them to be holy. In Exodus chapter 20, the Lord said to the Israelites, he said, he instructed Moses actually here in Exodus chapter 19 that the people should prepare themselves. They should wash themselves. They should keep away from sexual intimacy. The Israelites were to be prepared, consecrated to meet their God. Be ready to meet your God. And in Exodus chapter 20, the Lord came down and he spoke to them, gave them the 10 commandments. Call by his name, call on his name, call to be holy, call to live by the words of the Lord. And how are you saved? All of these things, salvation, literal salvation here, when he saved them, he brought them up out of Egypt. By washing and cleaning, they're preparing to meet God. And then they receive the commandment of God, the 10 commandments. But as we continue throughout the history of the Israelites, we realize that all 3 areas of the covenant relationship were in process. Because first, salvation was not just political deliverance or to be saved from slavery. It was also about the saving of the soul. Holiness is not just washing and cleaning or the ritual of being prepared to stand before God as best as you can. Holiness is connected to the priestly ministry of atonement. And to live by the words of God, the instructions of the Lord, would require the heart submission, submitting to the law of God. All 3 would be fulfilled in the covenant relationship with Christ. But the Lord established this covenant relationship with Israel, and he said to the Israelites through Moses that a prophet like unto Moses in Deuteronomy chapter 18 verse 18 come from the earlier verses. You see where the Lord will send someone to speak. So then God will raise up a prophet like unto me from among your brethren. Peter declared that Jesus is this prophet like unto Moses. So salvation in the name of the Lord was in process until the Messiah comes. Holiness was in process until the priestly ministry of the high priest after the order of Melchizedek. The obedience to the commandments of the Lord was in process until God fulfilled Jeremiah chapter 31, when he said, a new covenant I will establish. I will write my laws on the hearts of the people. I will write my laws on the hearts of the people. Jeremiah 31, verse 31, the days are coming, declares the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with the people of Israel and with the people of Judah. It will not be like the covenant I made with their ancestors when I took them by the hand to lead them out of Egypt, because they broke my covenant, though I was a husband to them, declares the Lord. So the covenant relationship that God established with Israel in the wilderness, God made it obsolete by promising the Messiah and sending the Messiah to fulfill what he promised to Abraham, where salvation is going to be, and the nations will belong to a particular descendant of Abraham.